Come on. We will win. Because we will hit all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. Because we are the best on the field. And we hit the field light, all day light, all night light, on the blue light, offense light, defense light, his squad light, house call light, and a sound light, and a sound light, and a sound light.
Looks right, throws it too high. Oh, it was called on the back end. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He hauled it in. ECU with a miracle win. In Lubbock tonight.
Goes for the end zone. The ball's in the air. It drops at the goal line. I think he caught it for a touchdown. He got it. He got it. He got it. Touchdown, Nick Matthews. The Cougars win it. The Cougars win it. He gets it. He's got room to the right. Tucks. Throws anyway. In the end zone it is. Caught. It's caught for a touchdown.
It's a good one. The set down. The kick is up. On the way. It is good.
He missed the catch. Do you believe this? With 1:11 to go, he missed the catch.
He is up, and the kick is no good. And the Cougars are going to win the football game. Donnell Barnes over on the far side. He's going to keep it himself. Cut back inside. Slams for the touchdown. And the
forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Welcome everybody to the Short Sports Show. I am your host Daniel Short. Today is beautiful Monday morning, December 21st, 2015, and we have a good show, great show for you guys. What an amazing week to start off the bowl week, and we also are going to be talking, obviously the main thing, Josh Norman, Odell Beckham Jr. going at it. The intro you guys just heard is from Triune featuring EQ. You can buy their new album, Raised to Fail, Born to Succeed, on iTunes right now, as well as all the other major areas like Android and all the other good stuff. I'm an Apple person myself, so I really don't know. I guess the Google Play Store, you can go and get that as well. If you want the just the song that you guys just heard, Forever, you can also get that on iTunes, everywhere else, Spotify, wherever you want to listen it to. It is an amazing song. Gets me pumped every time for this show and for, you know, any other special sports event or whatnot. So special thanks to Triune and UNO Entertainment, as well as EQ. All the links down below are in the description. So it's just an amazing week of football we had. Sadly, it got a little too intense with Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman, but overall a really great matchup. That game was great. I told you, we all knew it, that this game should have been on Sunday night. Now, the Eagles and the Cardinals game was a pretty solid game, maybe even Monday night game, because tonight's game we have the Lions and the Saints, both teams playing for absolutely nothing, and that is our Monday night football game to start off, you know, Christmas week, holiday week, whatever you want to go by. That's not how you start off Monday. You know, that's not how you're supposed to start off the week, having a terrible game like that. But anyways, it was still a great matchup overall. We're going to talk about that, as well as some college football news. We're going to preview or recap some of the bowl games that just happened, and then preview some of the games going forward. Just so everybody knows, we will still have a Friday show. Friday is Christmas, I do believe. I'm so lost on work. Yeah. Christmas is Friday, so we will still do a Christmas show in the morning. I'm no longer, 10 years old, so I don't get to wake up early and open gifts. I'm more of, all right, you're up, Merry Christmas. That's about it. That's about all I get now. But it's all good. It's all good. We're going to celebrate it. We're going to talk about some sports news. It'll be probably a really quick show, maybe a 25-minute show, something like that. That way it's short and sweet for you guys that, still are able to listen to it throughout the weekend and on Friday, and as well spend time with y'all's family and celebrate Christmas. So, with that all being said, let's get on with today's show. But before we do that, one last thing. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. And all other links are down below in the description. Here we go. Another SEC quarterback transfer. This time is Will Grier. He will transfer from Florida. The school announced last Saturday. This is pretty old, but I had to get it in here. Or last Saturday. That was 2 days ago. I don't know why I'm saying that. Anyways, Jim McElwain said in a statement, quote, Will came to me about exploring his options to transfer. We will support him and help him in any way we can. This has been very difficult on him, and he obviously is looking for a fresh start. We will always be there for him, as will all Gators, end quote. Now, Greer was a redshirt freshman. He was suspended on October 12th for testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs, and he lost his appeal of a 1-year suspension in November. So, if he had stayed with Florida, he would not be eligible to return until Florida's 7th game of next year, and that's against Missouri on October 15th. He said, you know what, I'm out. I got to get out of here. I got to start somewhere, fresh, I guess. But before the suspension, before everything happened, it looked like Florida had found its quarterback. Again, I had been a huge fan of Trayon Harris in the beginning of the season. This season, he just showed that, he's just not a quarterback. But Will Grier brought a little bit of life to Florida. He became the first quarterback since Tim Tebow in 2009 to pass for more than 200 yards in 3 consecutive starts. His completion percentage, passing yards per game, and touchdown to interception ratio were also the best by any Gator since 2009. Basically, Tim Tebow once again. And in the 6 games that he played in this season, starting 5 of them, he completed 66% for 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns to 3 picks. Just, it got everything going. Again, they were 6-0 to start the season, and we thought, okay, Florida, they found their coach in Jim McElwain. Their defense is, of course, still one of the best. And they found a quarterback in redshirt freshman Will Grier. Then he gets suspended. He's out for the remainder of the year. And they got to go with Trayon Harris, and they start, basically sucking. The defense is there, but offense can't put up any points. The other thing from Florida is this isn't a new thing. This isn't a new thing for Florida. Will Grier is the 6th quarterback to transfer from Florida in the past 3 years alone. That's Jacoby Brissett, Tyler Murphy, Max Staver, I always struggle with the name. Jeff Driscoll and Skylar Morningweg are all gone. They've all transferred, all gone to different places, and done pretty well too. So it's kind of been on Florida's part on the offensive side, mainly Will Muschamp. But Grier, it's kind of smart for him to get out. It's going to hurt him to play, not be able to play with a team next year without, having to sit out, whatnot. So he has a chance to, if he goes to another FBS school, he will have to sit out a complete year anyways under the NCAA transfer rules, but he would be a 4th-year junior, so he would still have 2 more years to play after next year. Instead of, the old rule was, all right, well, you've now wasted a year, and he would only have 1 year. So he could look at the route possibly saying, you know what, I need to play immediately. That's why I'm leaving Florida, because I can't play immediately next year. Maybe go straight to FCS, just 1 year. Play somewhere, get some, things going, play at a solid school. And then after that, transfer once again to an FBS school, because you can make the switch from FCS to FBS and be a starter and play immediately. Well, not a starter, but play immediately. And that would be the best option for him. Unless, because to me, it doesn't make sense if he transfers to an FBS school right now, then have to sit out a year still. Because then you might as well stay at Florida, because you would still be the starter right when you come back, most likely. And you would play sooner. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But Will Grier is gone from Florida. Arizona junior linebacker Scooby Wright III announced his intention to enter the spring's NFL draft. He finished with 15 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks in his return with the Wildcats in a 45-37 win over New Mexico in a New Mexico Bowl. It was a great game, and it's awesome for him to finally come back and be able to play, given what he did last year and what he had to deal with this year. He said, quote, "These past 3 years, I couldn't have asked for better people and a better group to be around. I'm forever in debt." As a sophomore in 2014, Wright turned into one of the most dominant defensive players ever in college football history. This was his stats, and if he was eligible to leave college after his sophomore year, guarantee you would have been a top 10 pick, maybe top 5. He finished the year, check this out, 163 tackles, 29 tackles for loss, 14 sacks, and 6 forced fumbles. He won just about every defensive award, every major defensive award he won just like that in his sophomore year. This year, everybody projected him to be the number one linebacker, probably even the number one defensive player in this year's draft, given what he did last year and what he was projected to do this year. Now, I don't think a lot of people expected him to do the exact same thing, but up there in the 120 tackles, maybe 10 plus tackles for loss, 10 plus sacks, something around there. Either way, another amazing season. Sadly, though, it's been multiple injuries this year. He left the season opener against UTSA with a knee injury. He missed the next 2 games. Then he came back against UCLA September 26th, then suffered a foot injury against the Bruins and didn't appear in another game until the bowl game. But depending on his health, he's still projected as a second or third round pick. But no matter where he gets drafted, because most likely it is not a first round draft pick, questionable second, he's going to be a steal, because if he's fully healthy, this guy has a nose for the ball. We all know it. The stats show it. His film shows it. He's going to be one of the most dominant players. I would love to see Seattle pick him up. I think that he would fit perfectly in their scheme. But wherever he goes, he's going to be an absolute monster. And watch him probably go to the freaking Patriots. The Patriots, they just get about everybody and turn them into amazing athletes. But yeah, good thing for Scooby Wright. Wish him the best of luck. Hopefully, maybe we even try to get him on the show. That would be awesome. Talk to him about what he's gone through this season and getting ready for the NFL draft. Look for a ton of interviews this quote off season before the draft. I'm gonna try to put in a ton. I'm working on it, guys. I promise you. Moving on, Michigan is planning to hire, or is hiring, Don Brown of Boston College, which, by the way, you might think, okay, well, that's okay. I guess that's solid. Maybe has some connections or something. If you haven't watched college football, if you haven't watched Boston College, which I don't blame if you haven't watched Boston College, but if you haven't just watched college football overall and haven't been paying attention, let me tell you a little bit about Don Brown. He just led the nation in defense in 2015 as a defensive coordinator with Boston College. Not a whole lot of great athletes there. I mean, a few. They've had some great players, here and there. But yeah, he just did that this year. Yep. DJ Durkin, who was the defensive coordinator for Michigan, he obviously left to become Maryland's head coach earlier this month. Greg Madison, who was the defensive coordinator from 2011 to 2014, is serving as Michigan's interim defensive coordinator. But now, Michigan has now hired Don Brown, who will take over, and Michigan is just building up a stack of great coaches. If you're a recruit, I know it might suck to live in Michigan because of the cold weather, but man, are they going to get you right for the NFL. I mean, all of these guys have experience, whether in the NFL with Jim Harbaugh or just producing great college athletes or just normal college athletes into NFL players. It's unbelievable. And with Don Brown, this defense is it's going to be perfect. I guarantee you. Brown spent the last 3 seasons as BC's defensive coordinator, and the Eagles' defense finished first nationally in total defense this past season, allowing 254 yards per game. They also finished 4th in scoring defense, giving 15.3 points per game. Remember, guys, they're in the ACC. They had to play against Clemson. They had to play against Florida State. They played some top competition and did pretty well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he works with Michigan and getting this defense and these pro coaches with them. I'm not even a Michigan fan, and I think it's already exciting. And they also remember last week they just got the number 1 running back in the 2016 class, and Kareem Walker. It's another big pickup right there. Ole Miss head coach Hugh Freeze has suspended All-American defensive tackle Robert Nkemdiche for the All-State Sugar Bowl matchup with Oklahoma State. The suspension will end Nkemdiche's college career, as he announced he will enter the NFL draft. Freeze said in a statement that he and athletic director told Nkemdiche that his suspension last week, and that Ole Miss will, quote, continue to support him as he prepares for the next chapter in his life, end quote. And as we all remember, Nkemdiche was just charged with marijuana possession last week after Atlanta police found 7 rolled marijuana cigarettes in a hotel room tied to Nkemdiche. He fell 15 feet and suffered mild injuries after breaking a window in the room at the Grand Hyatt in Atlanta, according to the police report. Guaranteed a first-round draft before all of this happened anyways. I think we all knew he was going to leave. And this has really put a question mark. Now, we've seen talented, again, over and over and over, great talented players, young players, and no matter how great they are on the field, they have been dropped. And teams now more and more are just saying, we're not gonna take you unless you're the Cowboys. It really doesn't matter unless you kill somebody. But Nkemdiche might have hurt his chances in the first round. Now, how far he'll drop, it's always a huge question mark when it comes to these type of things because they know what type of player he is on the field. And it's like, yes, I wanted to give you a shot, but at the same time, first round is a question mark. So, obviously, we won't know until really gets real close, until the month of April when the draft happens. But huge loss for Ole Miss to have him, would have been great to have him against Oklahoma State, against their offense. Now they won't, and Nkemdiche is questionable with the NFL. I mean, there's a lot of things we saw with Aldon Smith. So other guys, huge question mark right here on what they're going to do with him. Great news, though. Let's be a little bit positive. We've got to end it positive. USC star cornerback Adoree Jackson will be excused from spring practices so he can focus on his pursuit for qualifying for the 2016 Rio Olympics in track and field. Trojans head coach Clay Helton announced Sunday that Jackson, the Pac-12 champion in the long jump this year, would skip spring practices to become a full-time member of USC's track and field team, saying, quote, "I've always believed that if you're going to master of something, you've got to work at it. Don't be a jack of all trades. Be a master at something." He's been a master at football this season. If you have the opportunity to go to the Olympics, you need to go for that, end quote. That's what Clay Helton said after Sunday's practice. Jackson had an outstanding sophomore season as an all-purpose threat. He was everywhere on the field, offensively and defensively. He was named the All-Pac-12 team, first team, and a finalist for the Paul Horn Award, which is awarded to the country's most versatile players. He was the Trojans' number 1 cornerback, their second leading receiver, and their top kickoff and punt returner, scoring 5 overall touchdowns. Jackson said he'll likely still attend football meetings in the spring, but will physically focus on the long jump, which is amazing for him. I hope he goes and makes it. I think we can really all like Adoree Jackson. I think even some UCLA fans, other than when it comes to that game, I think they can all like him. He's a good guy off the field, and major props to Clay Helton to let him go do that. Let him take the risk to go and do that, and most likely he's got a good shot at making it. I think they set the long jump for making the Olympics, or the requirement or something like that, was like 26 feet and something inches. And Adoree right now, his last time he was like 25 feet and something inches. So he's close enough, almost there. And it was like halfway, so it wasn't like a huge, he had another feet to go. But it'd be great to see him make it, and it'd be huge for USC, which I would always like to see. But that is it for college football news. We will go to the bowl games right now, talk about them. Reminder, today at 1:30 Central Time on ESPN. Most people are out of school anyways. Out of work, probably not. But in case you are, there is a game on ESPN. Is the Miami Peach Bowl. It is Western Kentucky taking on South Florida. Western Kentucky, a 2.5-point favorite. I am taking South Florida here. I know their quarterback, Brandon Daughtry, with Western Kentucky. Great thrower, 45 passing touchdowns. I just feel like South Florida, being in the Miami Peach Bowl, going to have a little backup with them. And I feel like they're going to be like, you know what, we got this. We're pumped. We're ready. And I think they're going to be a little bit more motivated than Western Kentucky will be. So I'm going South Florida here. And in my other bowl picks, I only had 2 wrong picks. That's not bad. That's a lot better than what I had. On Saturday, bowl season started in an amazing fashion. We had Utah and BYU taking on each other for the Holy War, and it really looked like a massacre to start off the game. 5 turnovers in the first quarter for BYU, which led to 5 touchdowns for Utah, taking a 35-7 lead at halftime. Just dominating. Like, okay, well, so much for this game. That was fun. BYU came back. Final score 28-35. Utah ultimately seals the deal with the win as Tanner Mangum did what he could for BYU. 25 of 56, 315 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Joe Williams of Utah, running back, 25 carries, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That gets the W for Utah, but crazy game, and that was first pick for me. Then we had Appalachian State, which almost got blown out in their first game, in their first bowl game. They were down 17-7 at halftime, and then down 29-7 in the fourth quarter, just to score 24 points in the fourth, make it 31-29, late field goal to win it, as Appalachian State gets their first bowl victory in their first ever bowl game. I was so happy. I really want Appalachian State to win. One of my favorite teams from the FCS moving up to FBS. I like them a lot. Marcus Cox, running back for Appalachian State, 24 carries, 162 yards, and the touchdown. Gets the job done for Appalachian State Mountaineers, or whatever they're called. Awesome job for them. The New Orleans Bowl, I had Arkansas State winning this game. I thought their defense was going to be able to hold down Louisiana Tech. Instead, Jeff Driscoll, we were just talking about earlier, throws over 458 yards, 3 touchdowns. They have over 100-yard rusher in Boston Scott for Louisiana Tech, as LT wins 47-28 over Arkansas State. Yep. And then Arizona, New Mexico, probably the best bowl game so far that we've had. It was a shootout all the way through. I think we all knew it was going to be a shootout, and it was a fun game to watch. You had the underdog in New Mexico. You wanted them, I wanted New Mexico to win, but I picked Arizona. And, it was just a great game. I loved watching it all the way through. Final score 45-37 as Arizona holds on. Anu Solomon, 13 of 24, 329 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a couple picks. Lamar Jordan, the running back for New Mexico, 21 carries, 135 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. And then Caleb Jones of Arizona, one of the favorite wide receivers in college football. If you haven't heard of him, watch his film from the past couple of years. Was at Texas, transferred to Arizona. Great switch for him. 4 receptions, 182 yards, 1 touchdown. It started off the game with a 78-yard catch and run by Caleb Jones. Awesome, dynamic player for Arizona Wildcats. Must watch for next year. It's going to be fun to watch. Arizona's offense is always fun to watch, except for their defense. But anyways, Arizona gets the victory, 45-37 in the New Mexico Bowl. And finally, the last game on Saturday, it was San Jose State taking on Georgia State in the Cure Bowl. And I had Georgia State winning. I thought they could get it done. But the 5-7 San Jose State team said, you know what? People said we shouldn't be here. We're going to show them that we could be here and play. And they did. 27-16. Nick Arbuckle of Georgia State, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Ervin, another name not talked about. You hear Dalvin Cook, you hear Ezekiel Elliott. Well, this guy had similar stats, if not better stats, than both of those guys. Tyler Ervin, San Jose State running back. He had 30 carries, 132 yards, no touchdowns, but one of the best running backs in college football. That's not talked about enough and should be. But anyways, San Jose State gets the victory, 27-16. So again, only today, the only game on for college football is Western Kentucky and South Florida. I'm personally going South Florida here, and hopefully they can get the job done. But Western Kentucky is a 2.5-point favorite. We have Tuesday games. Let's see okay, so we got just a few games we can pick and preview that happened before Friday. On Tuesday, we have at 2:30 Central Time, it is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Yep, not making that up. It is Akron and Utah State. Utah State, a 6.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Zips. I'm taking the Akron Zips to get this victory. I hope they wear their gold helmets, the actual chrome gold helmets. Those, they're nice. I love them. The running game is great. Connor Hutley, 883 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. I think Akron can get this W done. They're a 6.5 point favorite, which kind of amazes me. I know Utah State, they're not bad, but give a little bit of credit to Akron here. But I'm going Akron. 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. It is number 24 Temple taking on Toledo, a team that started off undefeated for quite a while, both of these teams, and didn't get it done at the end. This game is the Boca Raton Bowl. Boca Raton, Florida. It's at FAU Football Stadium. I'm going to take Temple here just because of the experience, the head coaching. This team, P.J. Walker, 2,700 passing yards. I'm going to take Temple here. Better defense overall. But this game's going to be real close. It's going to be a real close game, probably a field goal or touchdown game. And I'm taking Temple here. Then Wednesday, we have Boise State and Northern Illinois at 3:30 Central Time on ESPN. It is the Poinsettia Bowl at 3 o'clock? Really? Wow. Majority of the time, the Poinsettia Bowl is always at night because I remember TCU used to be there a few times. Anyways, it's at 3:30 Central Time on ESPN, the Poinsettia Bowl in Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. Boise State, Northern Illinois. Boise State, 8-point favorite, and I'm taking Boise here. Again, none of these picks are by the spread, by the way. But I'm taking Boise State. Then 7 p.m. Central Time on ESPN, it is the Gold Daddy Bowl. The Go Daddy Bowl. You would actually be able to see all of this game. You actually have to see part of it on ESPN. Then you got to see the rest on GoDaddy.com. No, I'm joking. It is Georgia Southern and Bowling Green on ESPN. Bowling Green having one of the top offenses. I actually do not remember I don't think Dino Babers is actually going to be there as a head coach. I don't remember if he's staying or not. I could be completely wrong of that. He might be staying. If not, he's probably with Syracuse. Either way, I'm still going to go Bowling Green here. It's going to be one of the most interesting games, and I highly suggest you guys watch it. Georgia Southern, of course, runs the triple option. Offense controls the clock. Defense is iffy, but, it's okay. Bowling Green, up-tempo offense, throws it everywhere. It's going to be a rainy game, supposedly 73 degrees in Mobile, Alabama. I'm taking Bowling Green here. I think they're going to be able to do a better job, especially since I really lost faith in Georgia Southern when they got blown out against Georgia State at home. It's going Bowling Green. Then Thursday, just 2 games. Middle Tennessee State taking on Western Michigan in the Bahamas Bowl, the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl. I'm going to take Western Michigan. I like them. I'm going to go Western Michigan here with the W. And finally, San Diego State and Cincinnati in the Hawaii Bowl. Now, Gunnar Kiel, usually the starting quarterback for Cincinnati, will not be playing. He is out, not even traveling with the team to Hawaii because of personal reasons. I feel like if you have any personal issues, family related or anything at home, it's probably best if you take a trip to Hawaii. Usually it solves just about everything. Instead of staying in Cincinnati, Ohio. But, hey, call me crazy. Whatever. I do like their backup quarterback, Hayden something. I know that's his name. He did a really good job coming in when Keel got hurt against, I think, Memphis. And did a really good job through for like over 400 yards. Broke all these freshman records. I remember talking about it on the show. I want to take Cincinnati, but I feel like San Diego State should get this job done. It's tough. Yeah, I'm going to take San Diego State. I'm going to take San Diego State with the W on Thursday. That game is on 7 p.m. Central Time on ESPN for the Hawaii Bowl. Anyways, moving on to the NFL. And like I said, the main matchup the entire week we were going to see is Carolina Panthers cornerback Josh Norman and New York Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. Now, let's go ahead and just talk about what happened. Josh Norman says Odell Beckham Jr. should have been ejected for the shots Beckham took at him during Sunday's game at MetLife Stadium. Saying, quote, the guy ran 15 yards down the field, dead-on collision. That play was all the way to the left side. He came back and was hunting. It was just like malicious in every way. That's what Norman said after Carolina improved 14-0 with a 38-35 victory over the New York Giants. He said, quote, "I hope the league office gets a chance to review the film and see what they can do because players like that don't deserve to be in the game. I mean, it's ridiculous." Now, again, like I said, it was a marquee matchup, individual matchup of the week. Beckham and Norman went at it from the start. And they repeatedly got into it, shoving and wrestling with each other. Beckham was flagged for 3 unnecessary roughness penalties and twice on the same drive in the third quarter. Norman also drew a unnecessary roughness penalty on the same drive. Giants head coach Tom Coughlin said Beckham lost his composure but regained it later in the game. He also said that he spoke with Beckham before the game about this very issue, saying, quote, "We had discussed this prior to the game going in, what the expectation would be. And he thought about it, that it was all behind him, but he lost his composure. I did talk to him about it. I'm not going to discuss it anymore. Whatever we have to discuss, we will discuss in private," end quote. Beckham beat Norman on one play early, what would have been a touchdown catch for Beckham, but he dropped it. Just dropped it straight in his hand and let it go. And then he was held without a catch the entire first. I say couch without a catch in the first half. Just didn't have anything, but finished the game with 6 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown that tied the score at 35 with 1 minute 46 seconds remaining. After the game, Beckham was asked about Norman and whether he lost his cool, and would only say, quote, "It was unfortunate that the Giants lost." That's all he would say. Now, Norman on the other side, of course, he had something to say about it. He was asked if Beckham is a young player who needs to mature. He said, quote, "You're going to get out here and you're going to dance around, prance around like you're a ballerina. That shows you when you cut back layers, you see. Everybody saw that live on national television. There's nothing I can show that he hasn't already been exposed. The maturity level on him is just as a little kid. I think he needs to grow. I try to do my best to respect people," end quote. The NFL, there is a source, and most likely, I think we all knew this, was Odell Beckham Jr. is likely to be suspended for 1 game. A huge fine should be coming for possibly both of these players, but for sure for Odell Beckham. Now, again, I'm a fan of both of these guys, so I know what I might think about Odell. People are going to, think I'm hating on him or whatever. I'm going to clear it up real quick. Odell is going to get a huge fine and should be fined a very large amount, mainly because of the dive that he took to hit purposely with his helmet to Josh Norman's helmet after a play. And if you watch the beginning of the play, it was just a run play for the Giants. Obviously, Norman's on him on the line, gives him about 3 or 4 yards space. And Beckham comes rushing in. I keep switching name. Beckham rushes in. Norman swipes him away. He's cool. Josh looked like he was going to go for a tackle, but he was the running back was already down. And then, boom, Beckham comes sliding straight through, diving straight through, and hitting Norman right in the head. Could have broke his jaw. Most people don't understand that. I don't know. It gets blurry vision for them. They don't think that could happen. Could have had a huge concussion. Any number of things could have happened with that type of hit. And that's when Norman started pushing him, and rightfully so. I mean, anybody's going to get upset. And if for Giants fans and Beckham fans that are, blinded by that, you would understand how upset anybody would be with taking that type of hit. Now, later still goes at it. They still going at it and whatnot. And I was on Twitter, and I used TweetDeck, by the way, in case you haven't checked it out. I'm not sponsored by them. I should possibly be, though. I need some sponsors. I need some advertising around here for this show. If you like to advertise, I'll do it for free. Let's start off together in the beginning, and then we'll grow from there. Just letting y'all know. Anyways, lost track here. So I was on Twitter, and I keep saying I see all these younger people, high school football players, college football players. Football's a physical sport. You don't understand it. You have to be in his shoes and all this other stuff. I don't care. I know it's a physical sport, but when you purposely dive in with your helmet to hit another player in the helmet, you tell me, "Oh, hey, don't get upset. Football's a physical sport. You're not in his shoes. You don't know why you did that." you're going to be upset if someone told you that, and you're probably going to fight. So for people that are tweeting Odell, is a savage, boss, blah, 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 whatever you want to put, I don't understand why people would be in support of that. Let me know when you take a shot like that, and let me know, oh, hey, it's cool, hashtag you're a savage, it's all good. No, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. That's all I have to say. Now, I like Beckham. Obviously, he lost it. Norman won the mindset overall. He got to him. Richard Sherman has never gotten the mindset of Odell like that. Now, we saw it with Sherman and Crabtree, how that worked out. That went pretty crazy. But it didn't get this physical. It never did. Odell, suspended for 1 game, is coming for him. A huge fine. Both our players are probably most likely going to get fined. Knowing the NFL, they're going to fine him for everything. But Odell is huge amount of fine is going to come his way. But I thought it just cleared up. I thought it cleared up because I don't understand why players were basically saying it was okay for Beckham to be upset and fight like that. And I'm not saying it was all Beckham. Norman got on him too. Norman did a little physical things. There was a play, I think, a few plays after the helmet hit where instead of just jamming him like normal, it was straight hands to the face from Josh Norman to Beckham. But yeah. And anyway, and if we're clearing it up, I'm not a Panthers fan. I'm not a Giants fan. I don't dislike either team. I don't like Eli Manning, that's for sure. But I like Odell Beckham. I like Josh Norman. But you got to be serious. You can't be biased here. Just letting you know. Just over 2 weeks ago, Denver Broncos quarterback Peyton Manning expressed his frustration over reports on how rehab on his injured foot was progressing and what his plans were for the rest of the season and even 2016. On Sunday night, following the Broncos' 34-27 loss to Pittsburgh, Manning was more empathetic. A report Sunday morning said Manning had told the Broncos he did not want to be the team's backup. As he exited the locker room to speak with Steelers owner Dan Rooney, Manning was asked if he had any response to the report, saying, quote, "It's BS." He didn't say BS. He spelled it all the way out. And it's insulting, Manning said. John Elway later tweeted that Manning had, quote, "Peyton has never told Gary or myself that he doesn't want to be the backup. Any report or rumor that suggests otherwise is incorrect!" Exclamation point twice. Sources within the Broncos organization and locker room and those with knowledge of Manning's state of mind told the source that Manning is doing exactly what doctors and the team have communicated to him, and that's to rehab the injury. One source close to Manning said the quarterback wants to play again this season, but if he can get to that point of functioning well enough, either as a starter or, if necessary, in a backup role. But and there's even a report now. I don't mean to call out anybody, and I don't know who wrote the article, so that's even better. But there was a report that from sportingnews.com, which most of the time their articles are nice. I like reading some of their articles. But one of them was just plain stupid. It had Peyton Manning to the Tennessee Titans in 2016. I'm sorry. I must have missed the NFL draft. I must have just had one crazy dream this entire season for Tennessee. I could have sworn there was a guy named Marcus Mariota who was the Heisman winner at Oregon that was selected in the draft as the second overall pick to the Titans. It was the craziest dream I've ever had. I could have sworn that he was the future, that he's done pretty well this season as a quarterback, and he's broken a couple rookie records, but man, that's just a crazy dream I had. I don't know if that guy's even real. I don't understand why whoever wrote that article, I don't know if it's still out there or not. It's on sportingnews.com. I'll probably go look at it later. Said that Peyton Manning would go to Tennessee because of his connections, being at Tennessee and stuff, that he would go, and of course he's not going to be a backup to Marcus Mariota. And do you really think Peyton Manning, or that the Titans would sign Peyton Manning and now push Marcus Mariota after being a starter for 1 year and a rookie, and now bench him to sit under Manning one more year? Where does that make sense? That makes absolutely no sense. I get it from the point that, maybe it'd be good for Marcus Mariota to learn under Manning, but you don't just, as a rookie, put him in and then say, nah, never mind. We feel like someone else is better than you. that you just basically take trust away that an old Peyton Manning will do better than a young Marcus Mariota right now, who's getting better. Yes, he's had a couple injuries right now, had a few fumbles, but I would much rather keep Marcus Mariota than get Peyton Manning for 2016 for Tennessee. I would love to hear other Tennessee Titans fans what they have to say about it, what you believe. You can tweet me at @short_sports 24/7. Let me know. Facebook page, The Short Sports Show. All links are down below in the description. Comment below on this video that you're listening to, wherever it's at. Let me know. Chat on Spreaker.com. You can chat live while I'm doing the show. I'd love to know what you have to think and what you think of that article. Stupid to me. Absolutely stupid to me. But yeah, just y'all let me know. Anyways, moving. Oh, breaking news. Breaking news. The Patriots are signing Steven Jackson to a 1-year minimum deal today. That just happened right now. Steven Jackson to the New England Patriots. I got to tweet that real quick, guys. I'm sorry. Again, follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. I like that, but they just got a guy who did pretty well for them. I forgot his name. His last name started with an I. But I like that. I like that signing right there. I truly do. All right, moving on. Buffalo Bills defensive end Mario Williams expressed frustration with head coach Rex Ryan's defensive scheme, while saying he ruled out the chance of Williams taking a pay cut from his $19.9 million salary cap next season. Bills head coach Rex Ryan told his players after Sunday's loss, which eliminated Buffalo from playoff contention for the 16 consecutive season, that there will be, quote, drastic changes unless this 6-8 team gets better, and adding that players and coaches have, quote, 2 games to prove that we belong here, end quote. Ryan's defense has come under fire this season from Williams and other players who have questioned the adjustments at the line of scrimmage and the lack of consistent pass rush. Quote, you saw the game. You're trying to switch personnel as they come out the huddle. I don't know who in the world is calling, saying what personnel they're in or whatever, or how that is is that confusing. But apparently it is. After allowing the NFL's 4th fewest yards and tallying NFL best 54 sacks last season under defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, the Bills entered Sunday ranked 19th in yards allowed this season and 30th in sacks. It's just been a bad year for the Bills. Had a whole lot of hope starting off the year pretty strong, and have just come crashing down to now being officially out of playoff contention and only have 2 games left to basically fight for NFL draft pick, I guess. Unless you're the San Diego Chargers. Now, the Chargers had possibly and most likely their last game in San Diego. Now, if you watch the end of the game or watch the video of it, there's tons of video on YouTube, showing from fans' reactions up in the stands to on the field and actual CBS broadcast of the game that shows, players and how on the PA system, the PA announcer said, hey, Phillip Rivers, Malcolm Floyd, Antonio Gates are now being subbed out the rest of the game. It's like 30 seconds left, and they all cheered for them and whatnot. Honestly, it is pretty sad. I am a Chargers fan, and it is upsetting that it might be the last game in San Diego. I've already said how I felt about Chargers moving to LA and why I'm in favor of it. Would I like to see San Diego have a new stadium and still be calling the San Diego Chargers? Absolutely. I have nothing against San Diego. I love San Diego. I've been there one time for 2 hours, and I absolutely loved it. As much as I could see of it, I absolutely loved San Diego, California. But at the same time, if people are not willing to show up, which there's no guarantee in LA they would either, I'm understanding of that. If fans in San Diego aren't willing to show up throughout the season and make it basically an 18-game road schedule for the San Diego Chargers, what is the point of staying in San Diego? Yes, for those fans that actually do go to the games that are in San Diego or nearby, that actually do travel, that are season ticket holders, or even just fans that can go every now and then. I understand money is tight. Trust me, I know money is tight. And if I was in San Diego, I'd do my best to go to a game. I would love to. But I understand with money, you can't go to every single game. You can't be a season ticket holder. But the fact that this is an NFL franchise that cannot even host a home game without being outnumbered, almost, 6-1 of away fans to Chargers fans at the home game, that's embarrassing. Why would you want to stay? It makes no sense. And I understand the Qualcomm Stadium is not a beautiful stadium. It's one of the ugliest NFL stadiums out there. But it's time to move on. Whether it's the owners and Dean Spanos, whether it's them not wanting to stay in San Diego and really didn't push forward for a brand new stadium in San Diego, whether it was the city of San Diego not wanting to get a brand new stadium with public or private money, whatever the account is, it's simple that there are not enough Chargers fans in San Diego that are willing to buy tickets to go to the games, whether we suck or whether we're good. Because even when we're good the past couple years, or at least had a chance to make the playoffs, we have always been outnumbered at home. Any NFL owner is staring at that. Imagine how Jerry Jones is going to feel when he sees there are more other fans than Cowboys fans in that stadium, other than Texans games. I understand the Texans game, but any other fans. It's ridiculous. That's not what you want. So, most likely the last game in San Diego for the Chargers. It was pretty sad to watch. It's mainly sad to watch knowing that these careers are almost at an end. Malcolm Floyd most likely gone. He's going to retire after the 2015 season. He says he's still going to try to play, but who really knows? Mike Cyphers, the punter who's been there for the Chargers for the longest time, he might retire. Back and forth reports on that. Antonio Gates, he might be done. Phillip Rivers has maybe 3 years left in him, depending on if he can get an offensive line. He might only have 1 year left because he's just getting beat up every game. That was more sad. It was more sad because these players are most likely done, or at least getting close to the end of their careers. But overall, I wish the best for the Chargers. All I hope is, no matter where we are next year, can Chargers fans that are listening, or if you know of a Chargers fans, let them know. Let's start something here. Can we switch uniforms? Can we go back to the dark blue, dark face mask helmets back when we had in 2006? I'm not going to have to describe it again. The uniforms that we had in 2006 and back to like the late 90s. I want those uniforms back. It made us look fearsome. It made us look strong. It made them look tougher instead of these uniforms that we have now, because I hate these uniforms. I truly do. And we've sucked in these uniforms, really. Anyways, that's all I have to say about the Chargers. And moving on, St. Louis, whether they move, I personally want St. Louis to stay. I want Oakland to stay as the Raiders. Oakland get a brand new stadium too, because that stadium sucks as well. Raiders get a new stadium, which is most likely the least possible thing that's going to happen. If the Raiders can stay in Oakland, if the Rams can stay in St. Louis, and the Chargers can either stay or move to L.A., that's my perfect thing. But that is it. The playoff picture, we can look at it real quick. Nothing really changed in seeding for either conferences in AFC or the NFC, other than Houston, who beat the Indianapolis Colts, now take the 4th spot in the AFC as the AFC South champions so far. They are 7-7. Anything can happen in that division, of course. Jaguars, I believe, are basically out. I don't think they can get in now, unless the Texans and the Colts both lose the next 2 games and the Jaguars win out. I think that's the only way Jaguars can make it. The Jaguars really screwed up this week. Can you believe it that we might have the Houston Texans finish the season 9-7, which isn't a terrible record, but finish 9-7, win the AFC South, and their starting quarterback to host the playoff game, which most likely would be against the Chiefs. That would be Brandon Weeden as your starting quarterback for the Houston Texans. The guy who went 0-3 as a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys might be in a playoff game, hosting a playoff game with the Houston Texans. That's unbelievable. The NFL is freaking weird. Again, the Panthers are the number 1 seed, Cardinals number 2, Packers number 3, Washington number 4, Seattle number 5, Minnesota at number 6. In the AFC, it's the Patriots, the Bengals, Broncos, Chiefs, Texans, then Chiefs, and then the Jets to wrap it up your playoff preview. And there it is. Okay. NFL's, we'll go ahead and preview the game or recap the games. Now, again, tonight we have the Lions and the Saints going at it, one of the worst Monday Night Football games. Why we keep getting these terrible primetime games, I have no idea why. But we just continue to do. Saints are a 2.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Saints here to win this game. Let's see. We talked about. Okay, well, we got the Jets and the Cowboys. Cowboys almost had it. They almost did, but the Jets come through. Darren McFadden did what he could. 16 carries, 104 yards. Brandon Marshall, 4 receptions, 74 yards. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, 1 yard shy of 300 and a touchdown. The Jets get the victory, 19-16. But there is some concern. There was a really good article. I forgot who wrote it and where the site was, but it said that, I think it was on Bleacher Report, said Jets are all but sure a one-and-done playoff team because of their struggles in close games when they really shouldn't be struggling and things like that. So it's a pretty good article. Go check it out. Then we have the Bears and the Vikings go at it. Teddy Bridgewater, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, total of 5. He was 17 of 20, 231 yards. Adrian Peterson got hurt, but before he left, 18 carries, 63 yards. The Vikings go out and win it. Stephon Diggs, an elite star wide receiver. He was one of the best. Came back and did it again, multiple touchdowns. Vikings improved to 9-5. They win 38-17. Bears drop to 5-9 and are done for the year. Falcons, they actually scored offense and held teams to less than 20 points. I know Falcons haven't done that since week 4. Falcons win 23-17 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. They improved to 7-7. Blake Bortles did what he could, 23 of 38, 297 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Freeman, 25 carries, 56 yards and a touchdown. Julio Jones finally appeared with 9 receptions, 118 yards and a touchdown. Texans and the Colts, one of the most boring games out there. 16-10, Texans win. Colts dropped to 6-8, Texans 7-7, and the Texans entering that game, they were, since Texans became a franchise, they are 0-13 at Indianapolis. They had never won in Indy ever. They were 0-13 in their franchise history. They finally got their first W in franchise history with a 16-10 victory. So there's some bright spot. Woo! Panthers remain undefeated against the New York Giants in a close game. It looked like the Giants were going to be the team to take them out. 38-35. Cam Newton, 25 of 45, 350 yards, 5 passing touchdowns. This guy is unstoppable. 16 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown for Rashad Jennings. And Ted Ginn, 6 receptions, 85 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Patriots take out the Titans 33-16. Tom Brady, 267 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joey Ioselfa? I don't know. That was the Patriots running back they picked up. 14 carries, 51 yards. Could be his one and only game with the Patriots now that Steven Jackson was signed. Dorial Green-Beckham did a pretty good job. 6 receptions, 113 yards. Mariota is going to get an MRI on his knee, I believe his right knee. They think it's a minor sprain, but they're going to check it out, and he might be done for the year, which means Zach Mettenberger will be your starter for the Titans the last 2 games of the season. The Bills lost to Washington. I'm not going to say the name. 7-7 is the record for Washington. Woo! They're trying to mess me up. My brain's trying to screw me up here. Kirk Cousins, 22 of 28, been a really good job. Has done a really good job. 22 of 28, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns. Deshaun Jackson went off, 6 receptions, 153 yards, and a touchdown. The Chiefs dominate the Ravens 34-14. And what in the world? I could not leave this out. What in the world were the Ravens wearing? Those are the ugliest goldish brown doo-doo colored freaking pants I've ever seen. I understand gold is like their third color in a way. Do not ever, and I mean ever, Nike should be an absolute shame right now to ever wear those ugly pants. Never, ever should ever wear those uniforms again. Purple was fine. The pants. At first, I thought someone photoshopped that and just was making fun of them. Like, oh, I didn't think anything of it. Then I looked more into it. I'm like, holy crap, these guys are actually wearing those ugly uniforms. It was terrible. But anyways, Chiefs win 34-14. Cleveland Browns lose to the Seattle Seahawks. Russell freaking Wilson. Unbelievable. Let me pull up that one stat. I'm going to have to search it up real quick. We'll talk about the game here while I pull it up. He has been unstoppable the past 5 weeks. Only NFL quarterback to have thrown more than 3 touchdowns in every single game the past 5 games without throwing a single interception. He has just been an absolute dominant quarterback. So we have Cam Newton as possible MVP, leading an undefeated team. Might have been his last game too last week because you got to rest or not rest. We'll talk about that on Friday. I'm saving that for last. But Russell Wilson in his last 5 games, check this out, 1,420 passing yards, 19 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. And obviously the Seahawks have won 5 straight games. That is unbelievable. He is making a run, and he has better passing stats, than Cam Newton does. So while he might not have a team that is 14-0, passing-wise and what he's accomplished, Russell Wilson might be the MVP. And if not, these two definitely are. They might even share co-MVP if we have it again. But these two guys undoubtedly are MVP quarterbacks, MVP caliber. It's not Ben Roethlisberger. It's not Tom Brady. It's either Cam Newton or Russell Wilson. These guys are incredible. Again, Seahawks win 30-13. Russell Wilson 21 of 30, 249 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jermaine Kearse 7 receptions under 10 yards. Doug Baldwin, another multiple touchdown game for him. He has done an excellent job. He really wants those incentives. I'm telling you guys, incentive contracts work. He's got over almost probably $1 million now worth of incentives in his contract. He's done an incredible job. But Johnny Football, I'm going to talk just a little quick snippet about him. Great, excellent drive. First drive from kickoff all the way through. He scored first touchdown, did an excellent job, and then made a few mistakes where it was like great. The Packers and the Raiders. Raiders almost had it, guys. Receivers. Raiders still need receivers. While Amari Cooper had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Michael Crabtree had a great year this year, Raiders need another weapon, another offensive weapon. I'd love to see them get Josh Doxson. That would be fun to watch. Especially him going against Jason Verrett 2 times a year. That would be fun. TCU alums. But anyways, Raiders need different receivers as addition receivers because Cooper can't do it all. Crabtree can't do it all. They need some help. And Derek Carr is throwing multiple interceptions because none of these wide receivers have a vertical. I swear. There were about 2 interceptions of Derek Carr where these receivers just could not jump at all. I mean, some of them were a little bit high throws, but they should have been able to jump and catch the ball, or at least, somewhat bring it down, maybe drop it when they come down or whatever. But Raiders need more wide receivers. But anyways, Packers win 30-20. Derek Carr, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, couple picks. As the Raiders drop to 6-8, and the Packers go to 10-4. Broncos and the Steelers went at it, and very interesting and an amazing game that was. Roethlisberger 40 of 55, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns. Antonio Brown 16 receptions out of 18 targets, 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. Amazing job. Antonio Brown maybe MVP, probably not, but mainly because it's a quarterback award. Not saying it should be, but it most likely is. Steelers improved to 9-5, while the Broncos drop to 10-4. Steelers trying to find a playoff spot now that the Bengals have won the AFC North. Dolphins and the Chargers. The Chargers can't do one simple thing. That's to lose. Chargers have nothing to play for. I understand it's possibly the last game in San Diego. We just talked about that. But you've got to lose these games. You've got to tank, basically, because you had a chance to be the number 1 seed in the NFL draft. And now that's basically gone because I don't see the Titans winning another game. I don't see the Browns possibly winning another game. That means that was your only hope. You had to lose. And that's not going to happen anymore. So Chargers now 4-10, Dolphins 5-9. Dolphins, I can't believe they got blown out this bad. But yeah, Phillip Rivers, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns. Donald Brown actually decided to play football for once in his career as a Charger. 12 carries, 90 yards. Antonio Gates, 6 receptions, 88 yards. Bengals improved 11-3, win the AFC North, and the 49ers dropped to 4-10 with a Bengals victory, 24-14. Blaine Gabbert, 30 of 50, 295 yards, and a touchdown. Also had a pick. But check this out. A.J. McCarron just became the first Alabama quarterback. We all talk about Alabama, how great they are in college football, multiple national championships, Nick Saban, a god, all this other stuff, and how great they are producing NFL players. Not so much. A.J. McCarron became the first Alabama quarterback to win an NFL game since 1987. That was 28 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. 28 years ago. First Alabama quarterback to win an NFL game. Let's just talk about it. I'm just saying. Bengals won 24-14, improved to 11-3. The Cardinals won last night in an amazing fashion, a 40-17 win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Sam Bradford, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns. David Johnson, the rookie running back, I was about to say undrafted, 29 carries, 187 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. He was unstoppable. He was just trucking every Eagles defender that was out there. Jordan Matthews had a big game for the Eagles, 8 receptions, 159 yards, and a touchdown. Again, tonight, Monday Night Football, 7:30 Central Time on ESPN. It is the Detroit Lions taking on the New Orleans Saints. Lions are 4-9. The Saints are 5-8. Both teams have nothing to play for. New Orleans is a 2.5-point favorite, and I'm going to take New Orleans, both on the spread and the pick. I'm taking the Saints to win this game, probably by a touchdown or 2. This is pretty interesting. Apparently, Darrelle Revis was talking on Mike and Mike this morning. Excuse me. He said he could tell early in the game Odell Beckham Jr. was rattled by Josh Norman, saying, quote, "Yeah, most definitely. Odell is playing awesome. He's one of the most electrifying players in the league, but you could see the frustration a little bit during the game. The game of football is very emotional, and sometimes the emotion gets the best of you, and that's what it looked like. What it looked like happened." That doesn't make sense. See, it wasn't me, guys. I was just reading what it said. Revis said he's curious to see how the league responds. Interesting. Very interesting. Anyways, that is it for today's show, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you're brand new to the show, be sure to subscribe, to favorite, to like, to rate on iTunes. Give it a 5-star rating, of course. And stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Again, I could not do this without you guys. You guys have been tremendous on YouTube, here on Spreaker.com. Over 10,000 listeners. You guys are incredible. I absolutely love you guys. Without you, I would just be talking into a mic for about an hour for absolutely nothing twice a week. Thankfully, I have you people. You guys are amazing. I love you guys so much. Hope everybody has a great holiday week and a Merry Christmas to y'all. I will see you on Christmas Day. I will be doing a quick show Friday morning. If you can't listen on Friday, it's okay. It's a good thing. It's a live show and a podcast. So no worries. You guys can listen to it, Saturday, Sunday, whenever. It don't matter. I will see you guys this Friday morning. Again, in case if you missed the show, it's all good. Follow me on Twitter, though, at @short_sports 24/7. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. All links are down in the description below. Don't worry, no matter where you're listening to, you can grab it there and take it with you. Again, thank you guys so much. I will see you Friday. As always, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.
We came sorry, we conquered. On this field, boy, I'm a monster. This ain't got nothing to do with no dollars. Sponsors and pockets. If you got it, you got it. This hero won't squander my pride and my honor. The glory, the promise. Put it all on this field, leave none of these lockers. Leave none of these lockers. If this is real, I put it all on this roster. Put it all on this roster. When winners an answer, we really got problems. I'ma do this here forever. Holla. Refuse to lose, I do my dues. Forever mean I am future-proof. No palm readings, no tarot cards, no prophecies, and no voodoo use. My records rang like Napoleon. The school aware from the principal to the student body.